What's up, everybody? Just like snow in Las Vegas being a rare thing, so are opportunities in life. So whenever they come around, seize the moment. Tune into Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. only on Net 25. I'm Amin Santos, your EBC correspondent, always one with 25. Peace!
Hello Digital Nesters, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to watch our future features.
Soccer, the world's favorite sport. And it's no wonder. Spectacular goals and plenty of emotion. The best of game day. Kickoff.
Tohoku Seaside Kitchen, Mikado-don.
5月石の間
And Virginia Beach, Virginia is Guinness World Record holder for the longest stretch of Pleasure Beach and home to the historic First Landing State Park where English settlers landed first in America on April 1607 in the area famously known as Cape Henry. I am Sarah Nackman broadcasting from my beautiful hometown of Virginia Beach, Virginia, USA, and I am one with 25.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere, on any mobile device on OSN Play.
You are watching Net25!
Hi, I'm Madeline. And I'm Samantha. And we're the Callion Twins. Please watch Digital Nest on Net25 every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Digital Nest EBC. Callion Twins signing off.
I'm Benji Paras and I'm one with 25.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN Channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere,
On any mobile device on OSN Play.
Hi, Bobby Ray Parks Jr. here. You're watching EN Sports, and I'm 1 for 25.
Hey guys, I'm here today in my home state, Jersey City, New Jersey. Make sure you tune into Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. I'm Ace and I am 1 for 25.
Net25 is now available on OSN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN Channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere,
On any mobile device on OSN Play.
How you doing? I'm Karan Butler, aka Tough Juice, and I'm 1 with 25.
Hey guys, I'm here in New Jersey, the diner capital of the world. Tune in to Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. I'm Nikki, and I'm 1 with 25.
Net25 is now available on OSN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN Channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net25 shows live and on demand anytime, anywhere on any mobile device on OSN Play.
What's up? I'm Chris Ross from the San Miguel Beer, and I'm 1 with 25.
Here we are in New Westminster, British Columbia, with what the Guinness World Record has honored as the world's tallest tin soldier. Tune in to Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 only on Net25. My name is Archie Rose, the TV Dad, your EBC correspondent, and I'm 1 with 25.
We live in interesting times for the headlines. British police said that 39 people found dead in a truck near London were all believed to be Chinese nationals. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's action in welcoming Hong Kong protesters to Capitol was hypocrisy and had sinister intentions. Furious about being left out of the Donald Trump impeachment process, U.S. congressional Republicans stormed a closed-door witness deposition and refused to leave for several hours in an escalation of the showdown over the investigation of the president.
We're going to try to figure out what's going on back.
And later, Uni Global Education Center conducted a workshop on cyber safety awareness for women. Led by Lalit Gupta, a doctor, a renowned cybersecurity expert. Our EBC correspondent from the Middle East, Lorlene Kalimlim, will report. I'm Alma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thank you very much for joining us, and now to the news. A 25-year-old man from Northern Ireland has been arrested on suspicion of murder after 39 people were found dead in a lorry container in Grays, Essex, according to police. The deputy chief constable says they will not be commenting on speculation of the identity of this man. First, let's listen in.
May I remind you all that we have a 25-year-old man in custody on suspicion of murder. I will not be commenting on speculation of the identity of this man. In order to ensure that we maintain the dignity of the people who sadly lost their lives, we will be moving the lorry and the trailer shortly. Once that movement has happened, we will remain here to complete some scene examinations before we can allow all the business operators back to their premises. The lorry and the trailer will be moved to a secure location at Tilbury Docks so the bodies can be recovered whilst preserving the dignity of the victims. We're yet to identify them and must manage this sensitively with their families.
Meanwhile, the 39 people found dead in the truck in Britain were Chinese nationals, according to British media outlets citing sources. The victims were discovered in a refrigerated container on the back of a truck in Grays, east of London on Wednesday, shortly after arriving by ferry from Belgium. The local Essex police force, which is working with immigration officials, said their initial priority was to try to identify the victims, thought to be 38 adults and one teenager. The truck was moved Wednesday to a more secure location at the nearby Tilbury Docks so the bodies could be removed. Essex police and the Chinese embassy in London did not respond to requests for comment. In 2000, the bodies of 58 clandestine Chinese immigrants were discovered in a Dutch truck at the southeastern English port of Dover. 2 people survived. Britain's National Crime Agency said the number of migrants being smuggled into the UK in containers and trucks had risen in the last year. In May, the NCA said there had been increasing use of higher risk methods of clandestine entry to Britain by organized immigration crime gangs. In other news, Norwegian authorities said that a man who allegedly stole an ambulance and run down 4 pedestrians in Oslo appeared to be a common criminal rather than a terrorist. He was arrested a short time later and identified as someone who already had a criminal record. On Tuesday, police recovered a hunting rifle and an Uzi automatic pistol, along with a large amount of narcotics in the stolen ambulance. The suspect's lawyer, Oyvind Bergoy Pedersen, told the Daily Verdens gang that the man was just trying to escape from police and had not deliberately tried to injure onlookers. The lawyer rejected reported links with far-right groups. A 25-year-old woman who was with the man was arrested as well. They had been involved in another accident during which their vehicle overturned. When emergency services arrived at the scene, the man stole the ambulance while the woman fled. The incident took place in a residential neighborhood in northern Oslo, and while trying to get away, the man hit a woman with a pram carrying the twins. They were taken to a hospital but did not suffer any severe injuries. In other news, Tunisian Anis Amri, who drove a truck into a crowded Berlin Christmas market, took a selfie in front of Chancellor Angela Merkel's apartment in the weeks before the attack, according to sources close to the investigation confirmed on Thursday. The photo was found on Amri's phone as part of a major probe by federal police into the deadly 2016 attack, which left 12 people dead and was claimed by the Islamic State jihadist group. But it remains unclear whether the image circulating in German media that shows Amri posing in a hooded black jacket indicates that the failed Tunisian asylum seeker had planned to target the Chancellor Merkel. According to a leaked police assessment seen by ARD Television's Contrast News program, the picture was taken almost 7 weeks before the Christmas market assault. Amri's phone also contained other photos of the upscale Berlin Mittborough, where Merkel and her husband lived, known as Museum Island. The police file notes that Amri could have been canvassing the area, which also includes Berlin Cathedral, as a potential target for an attack, according to ARD. Amri, 24, hijacked a truck and murdered its Polish driver before killing another 11 people and wounding dozens more by plowing through the festive market in central Berlin on December 19, 2016. He was shot dead by Italian police in Milan 4 days later while on the run. Meanwhile, thousands of Chileans flooded the streets of Santiago and other cities in a general strike, upping the pressure on beleaguered President Sebastián Piñera after days of social unrest that left 18 people dead. Students, professors, and state workers walked off the job at the urging of the country's largest union, ignoring a package of measures announced by Piñera aimed at quelling the violence. The country, usually one of the most stable in Latin America, has experienced its worst violence in decades since protests against a now scrapped hike in metro fares escalated dramatically on Friday. A 4-year-old child and a man were killed on Tuesday when a drunk driver rammed into a crowd of demonstrators, according to Interior Undersecretary Rodrigo Ubilla. A third person died after being beaten by police, according to the victim's family. The armed forces announced a nighttime curfew for the 5th day running, although at just 6 hours, Wednesday nights is the shortest yet. In an address to the nation live on Tuesday, President Piñera apologized for failing to anticipate the outbreak of social unrest. Beyond the dead, another 269 people have been injured and about 1,900 have been arrested, according to the National Institute for Human Rights. And protesters march in Montevideo's main avenue against a constitutional reform that will be voted on referendum alongside general elections on the 27th of October. The reform would create a new National Guard. The reform would also make some prison sentences more severe and would legalize night raids, which are currently illegal. The debate over the security comes as a spike in crime has frustrated Uruguay, known for its security. Homicides hit a record number in 2018, increasing 35% over 2017 to 11.2 per 100,000 people, worse than the rate of regional neighbors Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, Chile, Peru, and Ecuador. And the Bolivian government and opposition supporters clashed with one another and police amid violent protests and strikes after partial election results suggest an outright win for President Evo Morales in the first round. Morales, a former coca farmer and Latin America's longest-serving leader, is seeking a 4th straight term. Partial results released on Sunday indicated Morales would face off in a second round with Carlos Mesa. But the Electoral Court on Monday released stunning new results that suddenly raised prospects of an outright Morales victory. Now that drew opposition complaints of fraud and triggered rioting in some cities. His main rival, Carlos Mesa, called for permanent protests until a second round vote is confirmed. Morales hit back, saying his opponent was orchestrating a coup. And Lebanese protesters kept the country on lockdown as they gathered for a 6th consecutive day, demanding new leaders despite the government's adoption of an emergency economic rescue plan. Demonstrations initially sparked by a proposed tax on WhatsApp and other messaging apps have grown into an unprecedented cross-sectarian street mobilization against the political class. Rallies have spread to all major cities into Lebanon's vast diaspora. The cabinet was spurred into passing wide-ranging economic reforms on Monday, but the move failed to win over protesters, who now seem bent on removing the entire political elite, which they see as corrupt. In other news, a Chinese journalist who covered democracy protests in Hong Kong has been detained after returning to the mainland, according to sources with direct knowledge of the situation. Now, Wang Shichin, who became known for her support of the #MeToo movement against sexual harassment in China last year, had traveled to Hong Kong this summer. Now, she had written at least 2 reports about the protests that have plunged the semi-autonomous city into crisis for nearly 5 months. When Wang returned to the mainland, authorities in the southeastern city of Gwangju summoned her to a meeting and then confiscated her travel documents, according to sources. Then Wang was told she would go and collect her documents on October 17. Instead, the sources said she was arrested under the charge of, quote, making trouble and picking quarrels, a vague accusation often leveled against critics of the mainland government. The detention center in Gwangju referred questions to city police who didn't immediately respond to a request for a comment. Meanwhile, Hong Kongers reacted to the news reports that Beijing is drawing up a plan to remove Hong Kong's beleaguered chief executive Carrie Lam after nearly 5 months of pro-democracy unrest. The Financial Times reported on Wednesday that Beijing is drawing up a plan to remove Chief Executive Carrie Lam, but so far, the Chinese central government has given its support to her and the Hong Kong police, and they called the demonstrators rioters and condemned the violence. Take a look.
I覺得其實如果 replace 咗 Carrie Lam 唔係真係完全可以解決到嘅問題咯。即係我覺得你係要真正做到5大訴求，回應到香港人嘅要求先至係得咯。
見到咁嘅修例風波，政治嘅時機佢已經過咗㗎啦。
Actually, I don't feel that's good because Hong Kong people can't fit executive chair. If the China want to replace another one, it's the same.
I don't think anybody can calm the society now unless that person is authorized by China to make some concession to their demand.
Now, Beijing is demanding that Washington stop interfering in its internal affairs after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Congress would reassess whether Hong Kong has sufficient autonomy. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's action in welcoming Hong Kong protesters to Capitol was hypocrisy and had sinister intentions. Take a look.
这样的认识，但是非常令人遗憾的是，佩洛西这样的政要却黑白不分、是非颠倒，把香港的暴力违法犯罪美化成为非暴力抗争，为反中乱港分子撑腰打气，其行为之伪善、用心之险恶，实在是令人不齿和瞠目。正在香港发生的是100%的街头暴力和违法犯罪，暴徒打砸商店、破坏公共设施、殴打无辜的市民，公开的暴力袭警，甚至通过泼强水、割喉等极其残忍的手段危害警察的生命，这些都是基本事实，清清楚楚、明明白白。我不知道佩洛西等人还想让香港的警察流多少血，让香港的市民流多少泪，受多少害，才能够找回他们的良知。
In other news, furious about being left out of the Donald Trump impeachment process, U.S. congressional Republicans stormed a closed-door witness deposition and refused to leave for several hours in an escalation of the showdown over the investigation of the president. Take a look.
I'm gathered here with dozens of my congressional colleagues underground in the basement of the Capitol, because if behind those doors they intend to overturn the results of an American presidential election, we want to know what's going on. And then we're going to try to go in there and we're going to try to figure out what's going on behalf of the millions of Americans that we represent that want to see this Congress working for them and not obsessed with attacking a president who we believe has not done anything to deserve impeachment. I'm gathered here with
More than two dozen lawmakers barged into a secure U.S. Capitol meeting room known as SCIF, delaying the Wednesday testimony of a Pentagon official who was the latest witness in the Democrats-led investigation of possible abuse by power by President Trump over his pressure campaign against Ukraine. President Trump this week demanded Republicans get tougher and fight back. The sit-in delayed the deposition of Laura Cooper, a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense responsible for Ukraine policy, for several hours. Now, some brought their mobile phones in with them, leading Democrats and some officials to accuse them of a security breach. SCIFs are built to prevent electronic eavesdropping and allow people to review classified information. Electronic devices are not permitted. Democrats and Republicans began shouting at each other, reports say, and the Republican protesters refused to leave the room for a number of hours, even ordering pizza at lunchtime.
behind those doors they intend.
Today, dozens of my colleagues and I went into the hearing room where Adam Schiff has been conducting, behind closed doors, a secret impeachment inquiry on the President of the United States. Whatever Adam Schiff is putting together today is a tainted document because it's a one-sided document. It's a document that's been created in secret behind closed doors, and when we showed up today to find out exactly what's going on, he got out of the room and left with the witness. It was disgraceful. This has been a disgraceful process. This is a Soviet-style process. This should not be allowed in the United States of America.
In other news, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau ruled out forming a coalition government despite an election victory that left his Liberals short of a majority. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he would consult with leaders of Canada's other parties on their priorities and how they might work together. The Liberals emerged the winners in Monday's ballot, but lost their countable majority in Parliament after a close race with the Tories. Take a look.
I intend to sit down with all party leaders in the coming weeks to talk about their priorities, about how we can work together to respond to the preoccupations that Canadians have from one end of this country to the other. They will be various and varied conversations, but I can tell you it is not in our plans at all to form any sort of formal coalition, formal or informal coalition.
The Prime Minister said he recognized that Alberta and Saskatchewan have fallen behind the rest of Canada. Canada is the world's fourth largest oil exporter, and the two provinces account for most of that output. But their economies are struggling with low prices and a lack of pipeline capacity. Now, this has fed discontent in the region over liberal environmental protections and a recent carbon tax to discourage the use of large amounts of fossil fuels. As a result, not a single Liberal MP was elected from Winnipeg to Vancouver.
We made the decision to move forward on the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion because it was in Canada's interest to do so, because the environment and the economy need to go together. We will be continuing with the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. We are moving forward to solve some of those challenges, but it's going to take all Canadians sticking together, helping out folks who are struggling in places like Alberta and Saskatchewan. This is what Canadians expect of their government, and this is something that we're going to stay focused on. We put in place measures that allowed that project to move forward by doing more for the environment, more for oceans protection, better partnership with Indigenous peoples, because we need to get our resources to markets other than the United States in a safe and secure way, and that's what the Trans Mountain Pipeline will do. And then we will be able to invest all profits and revenues into this green energy and fighting climate change that Canadians expect us to act on.
In other news, 16 people were sentenced to death for burning alive a Bangladeshi teenager who refused to withdraw sexual assault charges against her head teacher. Take a look. Now, this is Nusrat Jahan Rafi. She was doused in kerosene and set on fire on April 6 after she made a sexual harassment complaint against the principal of her rural Islamic seminary. The head teacher, who a court in the southern coastal town of Feni found had ordered the brutal killing from jail after being arrested over the harassment claim, was among those sentenced to death. Others included activists from the ruling Awami League Party and some students, including 2 females, who either participated in the killing or guarded the gates of the seminary while it took place. Rafi was lured to the rooftop of the seminary in Sonagazi, where her attackers pressed her to withdraw the complaint she had filed with police. Now, when she refused, she was tied up, doused in kerosene, and set on fire. She suffered burns to 80% of her body and died in hospital after 4 days later. Her death triggered widespread horror across the nation, with protesters in the capital Dhaka staging days of demonstrations seeking exemplary punishment for the killers. The case highlights what activists say is a culture of impunity over sexual violence in the South Asian country of 168 million people, as well as abuse rife in around 20,000 seminaries that educate mostly poor and rural students. Spain on Thursday began exhuming the embalmed body of Francisco Franco from a grandiose state mausoleum in order to relocate it to a more discreet grave in a country still conflicted over the dictator's decades-long regime. The relocation to a grave in El Pardo State Cemetery in Madrid fulfills a promise made by the socialist government, who argue his mausoleum glorifies a fascist who ruled the country for nearly 4 decades. Partly built by the forced labor of political prisoners, the site is one of Europe's largest mass graves, housing the remains of over 30,000 dead from both sides of a civil war that was triggered by Franco's rebellion against an elected Republican government. The dictator's resting place has been the subject of fierce debate in Spain, which transitioned to democracy in the late 1970s. The exhumation runs against the wishes of Franco's family, who unsuccessfully challenged the reburial in the courts. Eagle News will be right back.
ASEAN in Focus, Monday to Friday, 2 to 2:30 p.m.
A consortium led by Thailand's largest conglomerate, CP Group, signed a $7.4 billion deal to build a high-speed railway connecting 3 airports, the spine of an infrastructure scheme set to transform the southern coast into a tech hub. The who's who of the country's business and political elite took part in the signing, including construction billionaire turned health minister Anutin Charn Virakul, Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, and CP Group CEO Supachai Seravanant. His family is Thailand's richest thanks to its Charawan Pokpan Group, a conglomerate which spans food and telecoms, and its patriarch Danin is worth an estimated $17.6 billion according to Forbes. Construction magnate Premchai Karnasuta, who was convicted on poaching charges after he was found with a black leopard pelt, is also part of the consortium building the 220-kilometer line. It will shuttle passengers from Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi and Don Muang International Airports to a third one near the southeast resort city of Pattaya in under an hour. The high-speed line will also serve as a link to the Eastern Economic Corridor, or EEC, an ambitious $50 billion scheme seeking to attract investment from industries like auto and tech manufacturing. Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe met his South Korean counterpart on Thursday. He also warned frayed relations should be mended. But he appeared to suggest it was Seoul's responsibility to make that happen. Bilateral ties between the regional neighbors are at rock bottom over a dispute related to the use of forced labor during World War II. A South Korean Supreme Court ruled that Japanese firms had to pay compensation to former South Korean wartime laborers, with Japan maintaining that the compensation issue was settled under a 1965 agreement. In July, Japan tightened export controls on 3 chemicals essential to key products made by South Korean firms, including Samsung. Seoul has retaliated with its own trade measures. Now, Japan said its decision was made on national security grounds, but the move was widely seen as a response to the compensation rulings. Now, Prime Minister Abe said, quote, "The relationship between Japan and South Korea is in now an extremely serious situation, but this important relationship should not be left like this." And Abe said he wanted South Korea to keep the promises between the two countries so as to create a catalyst for recovering a healthy Japan-South Korea relationship. CEO and founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, was questioned by the House Financial Services Committee about his new cryptocurrency project Libra in Washington, D.C. He opened the door Wednesday to scaling back plans for its digital coin Libra if it cannot win approval as a new currency for global exchanges. Let's listen in.
What we're discussing today is too important for any single company to undertake on its own. And that's why we helped to found the Libra Association. It's a coalition of 21 companies and nonprofits that are working to give everyone access to financial tools. But even though the Libra Association is independent and we don't control it, I want to be clear. Facebook will not be a part of launching the Libra payment system anywhere in the world, even outside the US, until the US regulators approve. People pay far too high a cost and have to wait far too long to send money home to their families abroad. The current system is failing them. The financial industry is stagnant, and there is no digital financial architecture to support the innovation that we need. I believe that this problem can be solved, and Libra can help. Libra will be a global payment system, fully backed by a reserve of cash and highly liquid assets. Now, I believe that this is something that needs to get built, but I get that I'm not the ideal messenger for this right now. We faced a lot of issues over the past few years, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who wish it were anyone but Facebook who are helping to propose this. There are questions about financial stability, fighting terrorism, and more, and I'm here today to discuss those risks and how we plan to address them. But I also hope that we get a chance to talk about the risks of not innovating. Because while we debate these issues, the rest of the world isn't waiting. China is moving quickly to launch a similar idea in the coming months. Libra is going to be backed mostly by dollars, and I believe that it will extend America's financial leadership around the world, as well as our democratic values and oversight.
Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said at a separate hearing on Tuesday, a Libra launch would be premature and that various issues such as protection against money laundering and other illicit activities still need to be worked out. Last week, French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire said Italy, Germany, and France would take unspecified steps in the coming weeks to show clearly that Libra is unwelcome in Europe. The Group of 20 economies said the proposed digital currency creates serious risks of money laundering, fraud, and illicit finance. And the G7 said Libra should not launch until the legal, regulatory, and oversight challenges and risks are adequately addressed. Zuckerberg, expected to face harsh questioning in the House Financial Services Committee hearing, said Facebook will continue talking to regulators about efforts on Libra. Uni Global Education Center conducted a workshop on cyber safety awareness for women, led by Dr. Lalit Gupta, a renowned cybersecurity expert. Our EBC correspondent from the Middle East, Lorlin Kalimlim, reports from Bahrain.
Today we're here at Uni Global Education Center for a cyber safety awareness seminar exclusive for ladies, facilitated by the cybersecurity expert himself, Dr. Lalit Gupta. This is in line with the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is held every October.
Every October, cybersecurity awareness is held all over the world. This is to raise awareness about the importance of cybersecurity and to ensure everyone is well equipped with all the resources needed in order to protect themselves, especially the women and children.
The purpose of this seminar today is, these days the cyber world is the most unsafe, and it is came to my notice that among this population, the women, they are most targeted by these hackers. So it is better to make them aware that how safe they should surf the net and how they should educate their children how to be more to protect themselves. So it is not only for their benefit, it is for the benefit of the family, because they may be using their father's mobile, their brothers. So there are a lot of financial data, financial information, all this get hacked without even them knowing it. So it is to make them aware of the do's and don'ts while using a mobile phone or when they are on a internet, when they are connectivity to the internet. So that is the purpose of this seminar.
Here in Bahrain, the Uni Global Education Center is conducting a cyber safety awareness led by one of the world's top cybersecurity experts, Dr. Lalit Gupta.
Cybercrime is ruling this world. It's very alarming. We need to be very careful what we do online and what our kids, our youth, our women are accessing online, and they are put into troubles because of that. Cybercrime we need to tackle, we need to be careful, we need to be proactive. Security is required. For parents, keep an eye what your kids are doing on mobile devices, on laptops. There is no harm in doing that. I know kids, when they grow up, I'm a father of a 15-year-old kid. They say, why do you want to know? Tell them straight, we care for you, we love you, we need to be sure that you are safe. So get them on your side. As a parent, I must know what my kid is doing online. Youth needs to be careful what they are doing online. What is wrong in real world is wrong in cyber world. So youth need to be careful what they are doing online. Thank you.
Thank you. According to the management of the center, this awareness seminar is in particular designed to educate the ladies and gear them with the practical tips for their digital safety, security, and privacy.
Hi, I'm Caroline. So this session was very useful to know more about the cyber world and media, social media. Already I just came out of Facebook. It was very nice to know about it, and also hereafter I will be very, very careful in social medias, how to avoid, and it's really nice to hear everything from today.
So don't waste your time, because in just one click, your life could be in danger. Now is the best time for everyone, especially for women, to protect themselves and their children with potential cybercrimes. This is Lauren Kalimlim, your Eagle News correspondent from Bahrain, and I'm Juan with 25.
Thank you, Lauren. Environment News is up next. You're watching Eagle News.
Mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga OFWs sa Middle East at North Africa, may good news kami para sa inyo. Mapapanood na ninyo ang Net25 at iba pang Filipino channels na hatid ng OSN sa presyong abot kaya. Libre na ang box at installation, walang admin fees at no extra charges. Saktong entertainment na sakto lang sa budget mo. Bumisita na sa pinakamalapit na OSN store o dealer and subscribe now! Sa Net25 at OSN, siguradong at home ka dito.
An environmental pressure group says tens of thousands of pieces of plastic littering the planet come from just a handful of multinational corporations. Coca-Cola, Nestle, and PepsiCo were named by Break Free from Plastics, a global coalition of individuals and environmental organizations who warned the companies largely avoid cleanup responsibility. The coalition's volunteers collected nearly 500,000 pieces of plastic waste during a coordinated World Cleanup Day in 51 countries a month ago, of which 43% were marked with a clear consumer brand. For the second year in a row, it said Coca-Cola came out on top with 11,732 pieces of plastic collected from 37 countries across 4 continents this year, more than the next 3 top global polluters combined.
And Coca-Cola has been found to be present in terms of the plastic waste and plastic products with their packaging present in 37 countries and also had significantly the most amount of plastic pieces documented and counted.
We cannot recycle our way out of this problem anymore, and the only way that we can truly solve the problem is solving it at the source. Addressing it at source from the very beginning of the whole cycle. And that means reduction of the total number of single-use plastics ever produced.
Even if we had sort of tripled the amount of data collected, and even if we had more than 7 times the number of volunteers that participated in this year's global brand audits, the top-notchers or the top polluters remain the same.
Scientists at the University of Richmond have successfully trained rats to drive tiny cars in exchange for tasty bits of cereal, and they found that learning the task lowered their stress levels. Now, this study not only advances our understanding of how sophisticated rats' brains are, but could one day help in developing new, non-pharmaceutical forms of treatment for mental illness. Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, the Mona Lisa, returned to its usual spot in Paris Louvre Museum following a 2-month renovation that changed the walls to a deep blue color, allowing the pieces to stand out. Take a look.
Aujourd'hui, la Joconde bénéficie d'un verre extrêmement transparent, ce qui donne vraiment l'impression d'une grande proximité avec le tableau. Par ailleurs, l'effet est beaucoup plus transparent, donc moins vert, un peu verdâtre, c'était l'effet de l'ancien verre, et donc les couleurs de la Joconde sont beaucoup mieux respectées. Avec ce fond très sombre, ça donne l'impression que le tableau jaillit du mur véritablement, alors qu'avant il était assez enterré en fait dans le mur.
Now, the painting was first moved in July this year to the Galerie Médicis after renovations in the Salle des Arts started. A statement from the Louvre explained that the decision to renovate the room was made as a result of a huge increase in the number of visitors to the museum since the Grand Louvre project and the pyramid were completed 30 years ago. A new queuing system promises short waiting times and a more intimate experience, with Leonardo's celebrated oil on popular painting, the museum insists. The Louvre attracts 10.2 million people a year, with about 80% believed to come just to see the Mona Lisa. In July, officials had to restrict access for 3 days because of the chaos caused by the queues. Meanwhile, Leonardo da Vinci is the star in a blockbuster retrospective opening on Thursday at the Louvre Museum in Paris to mark 500 years since the death of the Renaissance master. Some 240,000 people have already reserved their place in line for the exhibition, the biggest ever organized to showcase the Tuscan polymath's indelible contributions to humanity, with an emphasis on his painting. A decade in the planning, the show, simply titled Leonardo da Vinci's Groups, 162 works, including 24 drawings, loaned by Queen Elizabeth II of Britain from the Royal Collection. And yet, the controversial Leonardo painting, Salvator Mundi, will not be part of it. The famous drawing, Vitruvian Man, almost didn't make it, and the Mona Lisa will at least technically not be in the show. The Mona Lisa will remain in its gallery in the permanent collection of the museum instead of being moved to the rooms used for temporary exhibitions holding the Leonardo show. They'll be able to see the Mona Lisa in a virtual reality experience developed by the Louvre in partnership with the French VR firm Emissive and using an HTC headset. The Louvre owns more Leonardo works than any other institutions in the world, but it still borrowed many from elsewhere, and getting early paintings from Italy was the hardest. Italy and France have long had a minor rivalry when it comes to Leonardo's legacy. The painter was born in Italy but died in France. And while Italy has many important early works, France has the Mona Lisa. Italy's government created a committee to evaluate the loans, and Louvre's creators had to negotiate with various Italian institutions. But a deal was signed between the Italian and French culture ministries in 2017. Problem arose when the Italian centrist government that signed that deal was replaced by a coalition of populist and far-right parties the following year. The new administration threatened to cancel the deal, in part because it believed France was trying to steal the limelight from Italy on the anniversary of its most famous painter. And that's the news for tonight. I'm Alma Angeles. Join us online and here again tomorrow evening from all of us here at Eagle News. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Always One with 25. Good night.